Bronco Nagurski. The name sounds tough, and he was. Often he was the biggest player in any given game. Jim Taylor, a common name, but like Nagurski, he was one tough customer. Both men are legendary Hall of Fame fullbacks. Pain was a big part of the game in the 1960s and 1970s. Few fullbacks played 10 plus years back in an era that featured plenty of hard hitting. This video showcases excellent fullbacks from the 1960s and 1970s who, although underrated, ranked high on the all-time rushing yardage list at the time of their retirements. Bill Brown played 14 years in the NFL. He was a rock-solid 5'11", 230-pound block of granite. Drafted by the New York Titans in the 1961 AFL Draft, he passed on their contract offer to sign with the Chicago Bears, who drafted him in the second round out of the University of Illinois. Bears head coach George Papa Bear Halas thought that Brown was a slow learner, so he traded him to the Vikings for a draft choice in 1962. Brown was so bow-legged that Vikings head coach Norm Van Brocklin was quoted as saying he'd stand 6'5" if he straightened out those legs, at the first sight of Brown in the 1962 Vikings training camp. When the wind blew hard in the Great Plains of Minnesota, or when southern city downpours occurred, it meant only one thing: run the ball. Everybody knew it, including the defenses, and the yards were hard to come by. Not known as a pass catcher in college, Brown's 48 catches in 1964 was an NFL record for a fullback. The Vikings' entire offensive backfield of Fran Tarkenton, Tommy Mason, and Bill Brown made the Pro Bowl in 1964, and Brown scored 2 touchdowns in that game. During a trip to visit American troops in Vietnam, Bill Brown checked into a room in a Saigon hotel with John David Crow of the 49ers when a Viet Cong terrorist raid struck in the middle of the night. An American officer ordered them to a nearby lounge with their mattresses. There wasn't time to get dressed. Crow ran to the lounge in his underwear and Brown walked in naked, holding the mattress over his head. He didn't know there'd be a dozen girls in the room too. He gallantly wrapped the mattress around himself until help arrived. In 1973, Brown was 9th on the all-time rushing yardage list and ended up 12th at his retirement. He paid a big price for those yards. Ken Willard of the 49ers was another bruising fullback who doesn't garner the recognition that he deserves. He said, quote, "I want to be the best fullback in pro football." He started out with a bang as a rookie by finishing 2nd in the Rookie of the Year vote, 4th in the NFL MVP vote, made the Pro Bowl, and 2nd team All-Pro. He was offered a $100,000 signing bonus before he had graduated high school by the Boston Red Sox to play the outfield. His dad had died as a freshman, so his family could have used the money, but his mom told him to get a college education instead of signing. At 6'1" and weighing anywhere between 220 and 235 pounds, he wasn't going to outrun a fire engine down Market Street in San Francisco, but he was strong enough to push the cable car around the turntable. He was remarkably durable, as he only missed one game in the first 7 years of his NFL career. He was a top 5 NFL rusher in 3 of his first 4 years, with his best year being 1968 when he finished second. He made the Pro Bowl in 4 of his first 5 years in the league. Dillard retired after the 1974 season with the 8th most rushing yards all time. He was also a very capable receiver. The Gold Dust Twins was the nickname given to Green Bay Packers running backs Jim Grabowski and Donnie Anderson. Both were named as the Sporting News College Co-Player of the Year in 1965. Although technically a halfback, Donnie Anderson's 6'2", 215-pound frame was big enough to where Green Bay essentially ran a 2 fullback offense after Jim Taylor and Paul Hornung left town. The Packers selected Anderson in the 1965 NFL's first round, the 7th overall pick, as a future draft choice. He had to finish playing college football before he could sign a pro contract. He was only the 2nd future draft pick to be selected in the first round of an NFL draft, and the first since the Rams selected running back Dick Bass 6 years earlier. Jim Grabowski benefited from an AFL-NFL bidding war between the Dolphins and the Packers. He signed with the Packers for over $300,000, a huge sum for that era. The AFL's Houston Oilers also selected Donnie Anderson in their 1965 AFL draft, and he was the 2nd overall pick as a redshirt. The same contract signing rules as the NFL applied. A fierce bidding war took place, and he signed for the richest contract in NFL history, approximately $700,000, which blew away Joe Namath's AFL record-breaking $427,000 contract just 1 year earlier. Donnie Anderson was an all-purpose player. He returned punts and kickoffs. He was also his team's primary punter from 1967 through 1972. In 1967, he only allowed 13 punt returns for a 1.7-yard average. And he set a team record with 22 punts inside the 20-yard line. Donnie Anderson was also a quality receiver. Check it out. Packers traded Donnie Anderson to the Cardinals heads up for running back MacArthur Lane on February 22, 1972. Anderson scored 13 touchdowns for the Cardinals in 1973 at the age of 30. Today's game makes minimal, if any, use of fullbacks. Whereas in the 1960s and 1970s, they were an integral part of almost every offense. Who knows if the fullback position will ever exist as it once did? Do you think it will? Let me know in the comments, and as always, thank you for watching.